Hi everyone! Welcome to another Maganda Manny's YouTube video. Today I'm going to be doing my own nails, and as you can see I've already prepped my nails and removed the previous product, and now I'm going to be wiping down the surface of my nails with isopropyl alcohol to remove any oil, moisture, or dust. First, I'm going to be taking my Apres pH bonder, which is a dehydrator. It does pretty much the same thing as the rubbing alcohol, but you can never be too sure. So I'm going to go in with this on all of my nails. Once that's done, I'm going to be taking my primer from Apres. I'm going to be applying that to the surface of my nails. This is an air dry product, so once the first layer has dried, I will go in with the second layer. This primer really ensures that you have good adhesion of the gel polish to your natural nail. I work in a lab, as I've mentioned before, so I'm always wearing gloves, and it gets a little moist in the glove, so I really need good adhesion with my lifestyle. So maybe if you have a little bit of a gentler lifestyle, you are able to keep your nails out of moisture. You don't need to go, maybe you won't need to go in with a second coat of the primer, but that's just what I like to do. Next, I'm going to be using my favorite long-wearing base coat, the Yogo Zombie Base. I'm just going to be applying that to a palette. This base coat is a lot thicker than your usual base coats, so I find it really hard to use the brush that's in the bottle to apply the base coat to my nails. So I'm just going in with the Nail Bio Dewy brush in number 3. It's kind of round brush, and using that to apply the base coat in a thin layer to my nails. You can see me here wrapping the free edge. I like to do this to ensure the longevity of my nails, because sometimes I can get lifting at the tips, especially when my nails are longer, because my nails tend to curve down on the sides. So wrapping the free edge kind of makes sure that the gel stays on my nails, kind of sandwiches my nail within the gel, if that makes sense. Once I've got all of that applied to my nails, I will give that a 60-second cure. Here I'm just wiping down the inhibition layer. And now I'm going to go in with Function of X Flex Tint in Indie. I love this product. This is kind of my go-to for rubber base overlays for my nail. It's just really, really easy to work with, and this type of nude is my favorite kind of base color. This very, very neutral nude. I think it goes really well with my skin tone, and it applies beautifully. So I highly recommend this if you're looking for like a rubber base. Not only does it apply beautifully, but it's also really long wearing. And here you can see me applying a slip layer of the rubber base to my nail. And then I go in with another like bigger bead of the rubber base, and I kind of just float that down the surface of my nail to give my nail some structure and kind of build an apex. This is so as my nails grow longer, I don't have to worry about any breakage because this makes my nails really strong. As I'm floating the product over the surface of my nail, I'm constantly checking the shape. Looks a little lumpy in the clip, but I check from all angles. If you know me, you'd know I love Pokemon Pocket and Pokemon in general, so of course I had to take a little break to play some Pocket. I didn't get the card that I wanted, boo. All right, back to nails. So I'm just going to repeat that process of painting a thin slip layer and floating a bigger bead of product over the surface of my nail. So when I deposit the bead, I will kind of start close to my cuticle, but not super like up against it. I will like push the product towards my cuticle using the brush and then kind of drag the bead all the way down. Like I said, I'm checking the shape from the side, seeing if I'm like satisfied with that, and then I play around with the shape with my brush until I'm kind of satisfied. I don't really want any like lumps or ridges on that nail. And then you can see me like flipping my hand upside down, and that's kind of to let gravity do the work. It causes the gel to pool kind of in the center of the nail, which is where we want the most thickness. And then once I'm happy with that shape, I usually will just give it a flash cure before moving on to completing the rest of the nails. Once I've got all of my nails completed, I will give them a full 60-second cure in my lamp. So today I'm going to be doing nails inspired by freshly washed rainier cherries. I did these nails like in the summer when it was like cherry season. So I was like very inspired by some produce that we had gotten. So I'm going to be taking Sugar High from Kiera Sky, another lovely neutral nude color. I'm just going to be using that as the base color for my thumb here. Next, I'm going to be using this syrup gel from Tiny in this nice yellow color. I'm just going to be applying that to my nail in like different blob shapes, kind of randomly. And then I'm going to be using this Fiote syrup color. Same thing, just going to apply that randomly. And here I'm kind of like deciding between which shade of orange I'd like to use. This one's more of like a peachy nude, which I thought blended better with the rest of the colors on the nail. And here I'm just taking my favorite Daily Charm liner brush, and I'm using that to blend the colors together. I'm just like feathering out the edges of the blobs. I'm not mixing them too much because I don't want it to look like super duper marbled, but I kind of want those like feathery lines that make it look like the skin of the cherry. And once I'm happy with the blend, I'll give that a flash cure under my Melody Susie gooseneck lamp. And then I will do the same thing on the rest of my nails. Once I've finished applying the color to the nails, I will give them a full 60-second cure. And now I'm getting out these like makeup sponges. Comes with a little grabber tool so that you can hold it like a pen. I'll use the grabber tool to pick up one of these sponges, which I will be using to blend this D-gel painting gel onto my nails to kind of give it that like deeper red color of the Rainier cherries. These like dense makeup sponges are really good for this effect that I'm trying to achieve with the gradient of color. So I'm just going to be tapping my sponge into the painting gel. Here you can see me tapping it onto my palette to get rid of like the excess product. And now I'm going to be tapping it onto the surface of my nail and kind of blending it out until I get the desired look. Here I'm just tapping off more excess product so that I can kind of feather out the edges to soften it up. And I'm just going to do the same thing on all of my nails. Sometimes I'll go in with the clean side of the sponge to help blend out that deep red color. You may have seen recently that there are a lot of products being marketed called padding gels, and I still really want to try some. However, I think if you already have like potted painting gels like this that are highly pigmented, they work really, really well for this application. So you don't necessarily need to buy a new product. You can just work with the products that you already have. These painting gels are like highly pigmented. They're meant for like line art. So I think they work really well for this like gradient sponge method. And here are the nails once I've finished applying that red gel. Next, I'm going to be going in with my favorite top coat, the Crazy Top Standard. I'm going to be applying that with my Nail Bio Dewy Brush number 2. once I'm finished applying the top coat, I will give them a full 60-second cure. Next, I'm going to go in with my Crazy Top Thick to put these little water drop details like I've just shown. So first I'm wiping down the surface of the nails. There's no intermission layer on the Crazy Top, but I just want to get rid of any dust or oils in case I touched my nails. So I'm going to be using my Daily Charm liner brush again. I'm going to dunk the liner brush into the Crazy Top Thick. In order to make the water droplets, I'm first going to kind of tap my liner brush on the surface of the nail to kind of like release some of that product. And once I've gotten an amount that I'm happy with, I will take my brush and I will kind of move the brush in a circular motion to shape the water droplet until I'm happy with how it looks. I'll usually flash cure between every 2 or 3 droplets. Crazy Top Thick is really quite thick, so it tends to hold its shape, but it won't stay like that forever. So you want to be flash curing often so that it doesn't run on the surface of your nail. And here's the finished look with the water droplets. Finally, for my thumbs, I'm going to be making some 3D cherries. So I'm going to be taking this yellow Embo gel from Ho Ho Lee. Haven't used it yet, so you get to watch me peel the lid off and struggle a little bit. It's this gorgeous yellow color. It's actually perfect for the rainier cherries. If you haven't worked with Embo gel before, it's a thicker type of gel that is meant for 3D nail art. You can kind of see the texture here. It's kind of like frosting. It's a little bit sticky. And I'm going to be doing the same kinds of motions that I was using for the water droplets. So the tapping to release the product, and then shaping by using circular motions of the brush. But in this case, I will also be dragging the tops up to make that like iconic like cherry shape. Kind of like a heart shape. Once I'm happy with the shape, I will flash cure that and before moving on to the next cherry. So I'll repeat that same process. And then here I'm just flash curing with my pin cure light. And I'm going to repeat the same thing on my other thumb. gonna go in with this white Embo gel, also from Hoholi. I'm gonna use this for the stems of the cherries. So for the stems, I'm just gonna kind of draw out a line that comes out from the top of the cherries. Now I'm going to be using that same sponge I used earlier for the red potted gel, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of color to these tiny cherries. For the stems, I'm going to be going in with this charm gel from Daily Charm in the color 712 Balsam. I'm using my favorite Daily Charm art liner. I had a little bit of gel like spill over onto the like non 3D part, so I'm just taking a lint-free wipe and wiping that away. Once I've cured my thumbs, I'm just going to be top coating them. And finally, here is the finished look. I just really love these nails. I think they look so juicy and delectable, and they really look like the cherries. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thanks again for watching.